The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Welcome, everybody. It's 2019, and I believe it's the day after Father's Day.
It is indeed.
Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day belated to you.
And if you're a father,
yeah,
I know you're doing the best job you can, and you've got kids underneath you that you're doing the best job you can with them.
Yeah.
And if you're a son or a daughter, you probably were thinking about how great that father was to you. It goes both ways, up and down.
You bet it
If you're
does.
looking down, you're looking at your kids. If you're looking up, you're looking at your dad.
And it kind of goes lateral as well, because there are some fathers who mentor other
there is. So
young
there is,
adults.
even indirectly, we've got
Yes.
that father figure, whether it be with the Boys and Girls Club of Martin County.
Right.
Fine organization. We got
Right.
one in Hope Sound, I believe, as
Mhm,
well.
mhm.
And they're all over the nation.
Right.
We've got the YMCA with great programs that help kids. A lot of
Mhm.
kids don't have a dad.
Yeah.
A lot of kids don't have a mom. A lot of kids have a dad and a mom, and they're not around. And that's where that comes into play.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference.
You bet.
We had a great meal. We had
Good.
homemade lasagna from my
Ooh.
mom.
Wow.
Yeah, she was fabulous. We had a great meal. We watched old slides.
Uh-huh.
Slides of Todd growing up. And my two sisters. It was a really fun time. But the lasagna,
Oh, yeah.
homemade lasagna,
Sweet.
doesn't get any better than that. We're going to have a good show today.
Yes, indeed.
We have some good facts like we always talk about. I'm going to talk about some interesting things about car care and the whole world of automobiles. And then we're going to get into, well, what is it that when you go test drive a new car, that's the wow factor? And can you do it to your car for not that much money and really bring your car back to what you think you need when you drive a new car? There's a couple little things you'd be surprised. Like you made a small list of things that you can do to your car
Right.
that make it drive like new. You'd be, you know what I mean? There's a few things, and you probably get an idea what they are, but there's not much you got to do. A lot of times it's a couple little things, and a lot of those things are things that change slowly over time.
Yeah.
Until it gets to the point that you realize there's a problem,
Right.
but you don't know what it is.
Right.
And a lot of times it's just a small thing. It'll give you a hint, maybe a tire balance. You'd be shocked at what that'll do.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it in the show. You got any good news for me, Frank?
Oh, yeah. I got some interesting things. GM urges patience as Silverado falls to number 3.
Oh.
Executives insist that the shakeup and a closely watched battle with the major image and profit implications isn't a sign of trouble, and say that the pickups launches are going as planned. So,
Well, I got to say this. We were just talking about it right before the show started. I believe there is a big oversupply of vehicles in this world.
right.
We've got so many vehicles, we don't know what to do with them. And I'm going to tell you what's a direct reflection. Go try to trade your car in. See what they'll give you for it.
Nothing.
Nothing. You'd
Yeah.
be shocked.
Goose eggs.
If you own your car, listen to what we're going to say later in the show about what you can do to bring it up to snuff. And it's not a ton of money.
Good.
And I'm going to tell you, you can make it feel and drive like new. Some little things,
Yeah.
tactile things.
Yeah.
That visceral feel of the car is the biggest thing that makes your car feel like new.
How about the VOC sprays? Spray the new car
we
smell
could, well,
spray.
we could do that too. But I'm kind of not keeping that in the equation
No,
because,
of course.
VOCs aren't good for you.
No, of course not.
But we still have it in this country because everybody loves them.
Yes,
The VOCs are outlawed in Europe.
of course.
That's why cars from Europe, like your VWs and your Mercedes, have a different smell to them. They don't really have that rubbery shower curtain smell that the new cars of America smell like. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They know what I'm talking
well
about.
described.
The
Yes,
shower
indeed.
curtain smell.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. All right.
And GM is pondering an electric Hummer.
I thought we just went out of business with the Hummer.
No, apparently not.
We're
It's coming back.
we're bringing her back.
It's coming back.
A lot of the Hummer dealerships, you know where they went into is the old Saab places.
Mhm.
In fact, I believe in West Palm Beach, the old Saab dealership became the Hummer dealership, and then it became mothballed. And I don't know who's got it now.
Yeah. And I forget who owns Opel, but GM sold off the Opel division.
That was a German.
division.
That was the Opel GT. Remember the poor man's Corvette?
right. Well, Opel was actually under the umbrella of Buick.
Yes, and that's right, because the Opel GT and the Opel Manta, Manta
Right.
was sold through Buick dealerships.
Yeah.
back in the late 70s. I don't even know if early 80s may have been well beyond that, but it was in the middle to the late 70s is when those cars were available. Quality was not typical German. So I can tell you.
Right.
Not typical German.
There is a storied history about that Opel plant. That
really?
Goes back
I don't know that.
That it dates back prior to World War II.
Uh-huh.
So the American bombers during World War II knew that the Opel plant was turning out German war material, even though it wasn't supposed to because it was owned by GM at the time. But the German government confiscated the plant. And so the Allies deliberately avoided them. They bombed everything around the plant.
So there's politics in World War II that we don't even know about.
They bombed everything but the plant.
Because they were under the impression that it was still owned by GM. And that was the ploy then for Germany to start pumping out the war machine through it because they knew they were safe.
Right.
That sounds like a twisted tuna to me.
Isn't that amazing? I love those backstories.
Man, oh man, that's an interesting story.
So Ford sues. There's a lawsuit against Ford. So let me back up. Ford suits show fine line in patient cases. And this is what they're talking about. Ford, which teaches their engineers to, and this is in quotation marks, copy with pride. And when they see something else that has a better solution and they face several allegations of intellectual property theft. Boy, does this sound like an interesting refrain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
sounds like the Chinese were accused. That's what the Chinese syndrome.
Yeah. The intellectual property theft, but says that it has done nothing wrong.
And we're not talking the China syndrome with who are those two people, the famous people that ran it?
Oh yeah, it was
the lady and the guy who was two people. China syndrome was she was married to. She's a real activist. When she married to Ted Turner, I believe.
Yeah.
She was in Barbarella.
Yes, Nancy.
No,
was it a Nancy?
I can't. I'll think of her in a minute.
Oh, anyways, yeah, okay. But anyways, so yeah, that was all about a power plant meltdown.
Right, China syndrome, and we were just saying China syndrome for intellectual property. It's kind of like how everything now is a gate.
Yes.
You ever notice?
Yes.
You got Trump Gate, all these gates.
Yes.
And it all goes back to
Watergate,
which is most people. I don't know if anyone knows.
It's a famous hotel.
It's a hotel.
Yes.
It's a hotel you can stay at.
Right.
And I believe didn't Clinton or Bill Clinton's that gal stayed there. I believe. What was her name?
Monica Lewinsky.
Monica Lewinsky. Didn't she live there? I believe.
Yes.
Watergate.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yes.
Hotel. So I got something from GM.
Okay,
here.
go.
GM announces $150 million investment in a Michigan plant, reports.
All right.
This is where I got this hot off the press from.
Yes.
Joan,
I know.
Joan, she is. Every week she's digging deep. She finds things no one else finds. But she knows people.
Right.
She's connected. She's got the ticker tapes popping over there at Crown Car Care West, announcing all that automotive news, and we're right there in the middle of it, and we catch it.
Yeah.
She fishes it out with a net, prints it up for me, and then gives it to me my radio show. Therefore, we can get it right to the public.
Yes, hot off the press.
It is hot off the press.
Yeah.
In fact, the Ditto ink is drying right now as we speak. Ditto ink.
Well done.
That was great. Everyone remember Dittos in grade school? The rolling mimeographs that had the smell.
Oh, yes.
Remember
it
was a dry cleaning solution, I believe it was.
Yes.
That's what they used to.
You're not supposed to smell that stuff, too.
I believe I believe that was one of the rites of passage in grade school, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So true.
So that was thanks, Joan, for GM's announcement to invest in a Michigan plant for $150 million, yet they're laying off workers. Boom.
Yes.
I don't know about that one. Here's a good one for you. Here's some good news right from Joan again.
Okay.
Toyota cars will now shut themselves off if you forget. I have to applaud this one.
Yeah.
This is good news here.
Mm-hmm.
Toyota cars and SUVs with push-button ignitions will now turn themselves off after being parked for a period of time, even if the driver didn't hit the off button. Cars that will be, if they're left running for hours, since after drivers had left vehicle, could be blamed for many. Many people will forget to shut their car from the garage.
Right.
It's usually the push button because I've been guilty of it. If you have the push button, you don't know to push. You're not grabbing. Well, you're not grabbing the key. There's a disconnect.
Right.
right? You always had the key. If your keys were on your house key, let's take for example, was on the key ring for your car, you weren't generally getting in your house,
Right.
For the most part. I'm not
Right.
going to talk about garage doors and the button and then the door being open in the garage, but for the most part, your keys,
Right.
there was always a tendency, and we still do it, to have our keys in our hand,
Yes.
right? Even with the transmitter or the remote, we want to have the key, but you can still grab that and forget to turn it off.
Yeah.
Now think about if it's a hybrid or one of these cars that shuts off at a stop. Now think about this.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
perfect storm,
Yeah.
right? You go into the garage, it shuts off. It's a hybrid. The battery pack now needs to recharge. 2 hours later, it starts up, because that's how hybrids work.
Mm-hmm.
The battery pack won't start up sometimes. The battery won't start, or the engine won't start up till it needs to recharge that battery pack. Everything's on. You could go in your house. My Priuses will do that. You can forget that you've been on all night. And you don't use much gas, but
Right.
but it's still coming on every hour or so to recharge that high powered battery pack. So and this is, I like this. It's actually technology. You really
Yes.
good stuff,
That's right. It doesn't sense anybody in the driver's seat.
because it's protecting. And the whole
Right.
reason is this carbon monoxide poisoning. Since
Right.
2006, Frank, a total of 37 people have died and 80 have been injured by carbon monoxide gas after cars were left in the garage running.
See?
There's real numbers there.
Right.
Not a lot of big numbers, but if
Yeah.
you're one of the 37, your loved ones sure cared, and I sure care about it.
Sure,
And the
one
80
is
people
one
that have
too
been
many.
in, one is one too many. I mean, granted, we can't spend billions on one, but we can sure program some software to turn the car off and save it.
Right.
Good idea.
Right. Easy fix.
Joan, hot off the press.
Nice. Thank you, Joan.
Yes. And I've got some more here. Ford's developing a robot, Frank, that will make deliveries to your front door. Ford.
Yes.
You don't think they copied that from somebody? Ford is partnering with the startup company Agility Robotics to see how a two-legged robot and a self-driving vehicle can work together. The robot's named is Digit, and it would carry out the final step of getting your delivery from your car to your front door. Digit's a two-legged robot that looks and walks like a human. He's built out of lightweight material and capable of lifting packages that weigh up to 40 pounds. Digit can go up and down stairs, walk through uneven terrain, and react to things being bumped without losing its balance. Digit can also tightly fold itself back up in the back of a self-driving vehicle until he's called into action. I wonder if he can go to work for us.
Yeah.
I wonder if he can cook breakfast for us and do our laundry.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
What's left for us as humans? What's left?
Yeah.
I mean,
just
if everything gets automated, what are us poor humans going to do?
talk to Google, right? Ask questions of
To
Google.
Alexa,
Yes.
ask Alexa, what's next? What do we do now?
Right.
You've solved all of our needs.
Right.
You've created everything automated for us.
Fat, dumb, and happy.
Now I'm unhappy. Now what do I do?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Go to the library. What library? Just ask Alexa.
That's
Go to
right.
the grocery. I don't need to do that either. They
Yeah.
deliver it right to my door.
Yeah.
Do I need to go to Walmart? No, they'll deliver it right to your door. Just order it. Ask Alexa. Well, wait a minute. Do I need to go to church? Well, I can see that right live on TV. What's left?
Yeah.
I guess I'll go to sleep tonight. Still sleep, don't we? We have two shops in
Yes.
Palm City and
you do.
and in Stewart. We have two locations. We really do, and we're trying to introduce a lot of people over to I say our newest location, but it's the newer of the two,
Right.
over off Cove Road. What a guy he is, that Mike, that runs it. Fantastic individual. We've got a big shop over there,
Yeah.
lots of parking, easy to get in and out of.
Yes.
It's easy. It's over at 4455 Southeast Cove Road. The phone number over there for anyone that wants to call. We usually give out the hotline number, but I'm going to give the Cove Road number,
Sure.
772
Right.
283 4707
4707.
4707, and that'll get you with Mike over
Mhm.
there at Cove Road.
Nice guy.
We got a big fish tank in there with African cichlids.
Mm-hmm.
We can sell you tires. Freddie's over there from St. Lucie Battery and Tire. They'll hook you up with some tires, or they work together with us.
Yeah.
Great location, big, expansive property, easy to get in and out of. And we can do anything for you, from put air in your tires to put a set of wiper blades on to fix an oil leak.
Yeah.
We can do it all over there.
Sweet.
Crown Car Care. That's who sponsors the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
My gosh, we have a caller.
we do indeed.
Well, let me get into some more news until we find out who it is. I'm going to give you one more fact about Ford Motor Company.
All right, stand by.
Oh, we have a caller.
We do indeed. We've got Deborah on the line, and she has a question for the car guru.
Okay, Deborah,
All right,
welcome
go ahead.
aboard. We're so glad to have you. Fire away.
Okay, wait a minute. Stand by. There you go.
Hi, Deborah. Give me what you got.
Okay, I don't know if I missed the show where you were speaking about if you have a second car that you don't use all the time,
Yes.
how often do you need to change that oil? You run it once or twice a week, but it still, sits there.
Yep.
So I want to know what the schematics are. and
Yeah, let me
what I
talk
should-
about it. And it's a very good question because a lot of people have a second car. They don't use it all the time. They need it or they want it. Could be a car you go out to dinner with on the weekends. It could be something that
Could
a
be a work
secondary
truck.
family member uses that doesn't use it all the time. It could be a student. It could be anything. A lot of people have two cars and don't use every one
The
of them all the time.
Maserati sits in the garage,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Here's the skinny on it. Let's talk about what you should do if you use it all the time, because then we can veer away from it and get into if it sits, and then we'll talk about the why. There's two reasons why you need to change the oil that I know of. Okay, one is the dirt, sediment, grime that happens from the combustion process gets into that oil and breaks it down. Right? That's
Okay.
what happens. The
Right.
oil breaks down, and I say breaks down, it gets acidic. It gets corrosive. It can eat up bearings. It can eat up seals. It can create havoc on the internals of the engine from not only a lubrication standpoint, but from a just sitting in there standpoint because it's acidic. I mean, by acidic, it's corrosive. It can get and do things you don't want it to do, even if the engine isn't running. So now you know where I'm going with this. If you change your oil by the book, and I'm not going to go with the newest stuff on cars because that's an over exaggeration just to make you feel good about buying a car thinking you don't have to do anything to it. That's really the thin on that. Let's say you change your miles every 4,000 miles, your oil. Every 4,000 miles, you change your oil. But for you to accumulate 4,000 miles, it takes a year. I argue
Exactly.
you should be changing your oil every 6 months. Every 6 months, you should put fresh oil in that thing because here's what happens. When you drive it, you're building up dirt and grime in that oil, especially if you do a lot of stopping and starting and not really long distance driving. And that's where a lot of people will do with their second car. They're not driving to Orlando. They're just driving around the block or to the grocery store, right? So now the oil's getting dirty. It's getting acidic. It's getting corrosive. There's just grime and dirt in the oil itself that's floating around. It's breaking down the additives, the anti-foaming qualities of the oil, the lubrication properties of the oil, the detergents that do the cleaning get broken down. Now it's just sitting there, not doing anything but eating away at the seals and the bearings because you're not using it. So the answer to the story is, or the question, I would argue every 6 months, you should change your oil, even if you don't put a ton of miles on it. You're going to be in safe land. You're not going to spend a ton of money, and it's good preventative medicine. Does that help?
Well, that's basically what I do, is try to do it every 6 months. I have a very old Ford Ranger.
Oh,
that
fabulous
is in
vehicles.
Excellent condition.
Yeah.
And I only need it for Home Depot or Lowe's or,
my little scenario I created was kind of directed at you then. And I didn't even know that. So you're doing around town driving. And that's the type of driving that builds up that's demanding on the motor that really puts the oil through stress, right? Stress. Right. And by doing that, spending, I don't know what, is it $35, $45 for an oil change? By doing that, you could prevent an oil leak out the rear main seal that could cost you $1,000.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. Well, then I'm doing.
You're doing it right.
Okay.
Bravo to you, because most people aren't. You fire away. Do it. Give it to me.
Okay. So your vehicle sits for so long, and now we have this ethanol. 10%, 15%, depends on the gas and what they put in there. What does that do when it sits, and should you add an additive?
100%, nothing but bad. I can tell you there's nothing but bad that happens on the ethanol side of this gas. Nothing but bad.
Okay.
I don't like it. I think the whole thing's a boondoggle with the farmers. I believe if we're going to subsidize them, do it a different way. Alcohol doesn't need to be in the gas. There's no reason for it. That's what's half of the fuel injector problems, half of the corrosiveness, fuel line leaks, gas tanks getting eaten out, fuel pumps being burned up is all because of this ethanol. It causes excess carbon buildup in the valves. It causes havoc in the oil even yet because the blow-by gases in a motor, and I'm not going to get into the oil, and that's where a lot of the dirt comes from. And the oil is not just the running of the motor, but what they call blow-by gases, the PCV system. And I won't even talk about that, but it's in a car and in a truck, and a light truck, just like your Ranger. Ethanol, in fact, here's a case. The boating industry most boaters won't even use it in their boats. They sell, if you go to these gas stations, they have wreck gas, and that is your solution to people that don't use their car every day. Let it sit. The best medicine is either add an additive like Stable or something like that absorbs water, because remember, alcohol does what? Is water, it attracts water. So not only is it doing corrosive things because of the alcohol, but it's also attracting water, which does nothing but havoc on your whole car. So you got two no-nos happening with that alcohol. And then if it sits, oh my gosh, it's a perfect storm for a disaster.
Okay.
And you're doing it right.
If you have a car that you drive regularly, it's okay to use the regular
Absolutely.
gas.
I do it.
Okay. One more question.
Fire away.
So if the car is sitting there and it should have recreational gas in it, and you've been using the other gas, can you start putting the recreational gas?
Yeah. All you're doing is putting what 90% of the other gas is. Well, remember, though, the octane rating is a little bit higher on the wreck gas. If I'm not mistaken, it's 89 instead of 87, but that's negligible.
But if you do it gradually and start, like if I use the car to a half and then I fill it half with the recreational, eventually it'll be all recreational.
That's right. It's like taking a cup of water and put food color, like when you did Easter eggs when we were all younger.
Right.
We did Easter eggs and we put the tablet in the water. It turned blue or red. Now dump half of it out and put another half a cup of water in there. Do it like 5 times, and you can hardly tell it was blue or red.
Exactly. Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you called.
I'm sorry to take up your
You didn't take up my boy. You filled my time with wonderful questions and great responsive answers, and it sounds like you're doing everything right. Have a blessed day. We'll talk to you then. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
We are back. You're listening to the Crown Car Care Show with your host,
And we are back.
Todd Harris.
And
Here it
now
is.
to
Yes.
drum roll.
I wish I
Dun,
had
dun,
one.
dun, 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 dun.
All right.
Some facts about cars that are very interesting, or at
Okay.
least the automotive industry.
All right.
We're going to talk through them, and then we're going to talk about what is it that makes a car feel new.
Yeah.
You'd be really surprised on what it is,
All right.
and that
I think new skin is probably a big part of it.
we'll talk about.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
The average fuel cost across all vehicles is 14.4 cents per mile or 23 miles per gallon. Average fuel cost.
Interesting.
We were talking earlier about your
Yeah.
cost of vehicle ownership.
Yeah.
Take the 75 cents we were talking about in that 14.4, you're almost at a buck a mile. That's expensive.
Yeah.
It's not cheap to own a car. The best-selling car of all time. What do you think it is?
The best-selling car of all time would be the Ford
Toyota Corolla.
Toyota Corolla. All right. The
Interesting.
Model T, I thought still was
Toyota
still number
Corolla.
one. Okay.
Toyota Corolla.
All right.
The U.S. consumes about what of the world's gasoline?
A third.
Half.
Oh, 50%.
Almost half. Just about.
Okay.
So 40s, high 40s.
Okay. all right.
Interesting number.
Yeah.
As big as the world is.
Yeah.
And as round as it is.
Yeah.
And I say round because it is round. It's not flat.
It's egg shaped.
Yeah. It is egg shaped, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Spherical.
Yes.
We'll go with that.
but it's actually elongated on the
Yeah.
poles.
Yeah. From all that spinning.
I would be too if I spun that fast for that long.
800 miles an hour. Do you realize that?
For millions of years?
Yeah.
That's a
800.
long time.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Ferrari manufactures 14 cars a day.
14.
14 cars a day.
All right.
It's not a lot.
Ford does a F-150
Ford-
one a minute.
One a minute. You were up at the plant.
Yeah.
You took a tour of it with your
We
son.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
14 cars a day. So you
Wow.
can understand
The cost.
the cost.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know who I was talking with the other day. My family. And we saw a Ferrari in front of us. And then
Yeah.
we were my mother was in the car. We were coming home from church, I believe.
Mhm.
And we saw the Ferrari and F12, I think. F12, the newest Ferrari, the biggest, baddest V12 one. They're like 280,000, 300,000. But how do you justify the cost on it?
Yeah.
It's not materials.
It's mostly hand built.
It's mostly hand built. You got labor, you got development costs, you've got the fixed costs of the building, you've got to pay employees. The numbers add up.
right.
There's not a huge big pie slice grab of profit, I'd argue. It's not happening.
No.
A lot of these exotic car companies struggle.
Yeah, they do.
It's not. Look at who do we always hearing in the news? Land Rover and Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Right. They're in financial mess.
Yeah.
Jaguar too.
Yes, they are.
And if they were making big bucks off of each car, we wouldn't hear them in the news.
Well, that's why they're merging together to try to do their
But-
EVs.
But,
and
but
save the
we,
cost.
but
cost
you
sharing.
complain about
Mhm.
the cost of these high dollar cars.
Right.
It's unfortunately it's the way our world's become with the expense of just doing stuff.
Right.
Insurance, liability. I could make a list a mile long of what goes into the car manufacturing business,
Yeah.
and you can just add the numbers up. And if you're only making 14 cars a day, you got less of a pie less of a pool of cars to divide it into.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
If I got $1 million and I'm making 1 million cars, it's $1 a car for that $1 million.
Yeah.
If I'm making 100, the number's a lot bigger,
Yeah.
right? What is it,
Mhm.
10,000, something like that, right?
Exactly.
Here's another one. When do you think the first gas gauge was developed? The first gas gauge on a car. Now remember, the first car was we can credit to what year 1886. Let's just use the Model T Ford.
Okay.
Okay, 1922 was the first gas gauge. 1922.
Right. Wow.
Quite a bit after the car developed.
Yeah.
1920, roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Right?
That
was-
would have been the Dodge brothers, maybe.
Yeah, well,
did that?
what do you do? Look down in the tank.
Yeah, I think they had like a dipstick.
A dipstick too.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
dipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some cars today don't even read accurate.
No.
There's recalls out on them.
Yeah,
I think Ford's got one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a story.
Every year, and here's a big. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but
All right.
listening audience, we're just going to take it for face value. This is some research that my wife did.
Okay.
Another one of our
Crack team.
crack team that we've got behind
Mhm.
the scenes. Thanks, Tamara. She came up with some of the statistics
Nice.
here. She did a real good job of it.
Yes.
And I'm broadcasting the news.
Yeah.
Broadcast news. $60 billion worth of car maintenance goes underperformed each year. underperformed.
Wow.
60 billion.
That's huge.
And that might get into what I was going to talk about is what's that new car? How do you
Yeah.
make your car drive like new?
yeah,
That'd take a lot.
right.
Okay. The average consumer spends $400 a year on diagnostics, scheduled maintenance, and tune-ups.
Okay.
$400 a year. Reasonable number.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But remember, statement before, 60 billion worth of underperformed. Now, do I have the statistics on what they should be spending each year? I don't know. It's probably, we should probably 600 probably would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because we do spend quite a bit of money on maintenance. Traffic congestion wastes 3 billion gallons of gas a year.
Oh yeah, that's why they developed the cars that turn off at when you're
Intersections.
right.
But that is also why we just talked about with Toyota.
Mhm.
If the car turns off when you come to a stop, you might not know you left your car on.
yeah,
Right. See, now it's all that. Everyone out there understand. If your
Ah,
car
the
shuts
thick
off when you put it
buttons.
in the garage, you might not know the sucker's on.
Right.
Okay. Here we go. I argue that there should be some kind of app in your car, something that would alert your phone that your car is still running and you've left the car by the car door opening.
Right.
That would be an interesting,
Mhm.
interesting little app you could
right,
write on and sell through iOS or Android.
right.
Right. Think about that.
Talk to your car.
Your car would alert you that it was still running.
Yeah, my mother's a car. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. First, windshield wipers were hand operated.
Okay. Yeah, I remember
Hand
that.
operated.
There was a handle inside on the driver's side of the windshield, and you would just grab the handle and pull it back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
90% of drivers admit to texting behind the wheel.
Yes.
Ugh.
No.
I wouldn't want to be a motorcycle driver. Actually, motorcycling is becoming obsolete.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, you're seeing less and motorcycle companies are struggling
Sure they are.
because it's so dangerous.
It's
I'm
my-
against
yes.
it. I'm against motorcycle driving in urban traffic. Put it that
Right.
way. I'm not against. I love motorcycles.
Yeah.
I've always owned them.
Yeah.
Grew up with them,
They're a lot of fun.
but not,
They're
in,
very
not in
dangerous.
today's world.
Well, they go way too fast.
Yes.
And you get them darting in and out of traffic when you can blot out an entire motorcycle and the rider with a pencil held in front of you while you're driving.
and they're going 90 miles an hour. How in the heck are you going to see them?
Right.
Agreed, Frank.
Yes.
There's no solution to it other than I urge any loved one or who has loved ones or is loved. Love motorcycle riding, but do it out west.
Yeah.
Don't do it in town here
Yeah.
because you're itching for some trouble.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Right.
The first cars did not have steering wheels. They were operated by a lever. We knew that. I think we
Right.
did.
Yeah, like a joystick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stanley Steamer, things like that.
Sure.
We knew that. An airbag inflates in 40 milliseconds of a crash.
Yes.
My gosh, that's fast. 40 milliseconds. I can't even think about a second, yet let alone 40 millionths of a second.
Yes.
40 millionths of a second.
Yes. I know. It's amazing.
I shake my head.
And it's an
I
IED in your,
Yes.
your
Now, if
dashboard.
anybody has any questions about what we're talking about,
Yes.
come to Palm City or come to Stewart to our Crown Car Care location. Let me give you the phone number for our Palm City location. It's 772-781-8000. We would love to have you as a new customer. We're always looking for new customers. We're always looking for somebody to be concerned and interested in the automobile, just like we are. We love everything we do. We love changing oil. We love putting on wiper blades, and we love meeting new people.
Nice.
And we're friendly, nice people. And if you want to be part of a family business, that is easy to do. If you're ever frustrated going to the dealer, if you're ever frustrated with where you go now, the chain stores, come to us. We're a family-run business, and we're just nice people. And we'll open the door for you. We'll put a set of wiper blades on. We'll set your air pressure. We'll set your radio station. We promise. And we'll even take you home if you need to. Pick you up.
Yeah.
We'll make it easy. So
Nice.
Crown Car Care.
Okay.
Another one is most car horns beep in the key of F. F.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Hmm.
You did.
Well, I used to play accordion. I know the sound.
You played accordion
Yes.
Ah,
For years.
We have
6 years.
Could,
Oh no, I gave up my accordion.
no, but if I get one in here,
I could probably do a pa type. Yeah,
You
probably
could?
yeah, I could do some stuff. Yeah, I'm sure.
oh,
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. My
It's just, I
first
know.
wife insisted I get rid of it. I
I'm just
loved my
thinking we
acco-
could do an accordion special show.
It would be very special.
It would be.
It's a good way to get people to tune out.
The automobile is the most recycled consumer product in the world.
I believe that.
And that's good news. I
Yes,
like
it
to
is.
recycle.
Yes.
Faulty oxygen sensors account for 40% of all check engine light related issues. And I'd also argue that a faulty faulty O2 sensor or oxygen sensor or airflow, air AF sensor, air sensor that is a little bit different than an oxygen sensor, but basically does the same thing. Won't get into the details of it. They're on newer cars, Toyotas, Fords, they all use them. It's called an AF sensor. Account for 40% of all check engine lights and also can account for a big drop in fuel mileage.
Sure.
And it might not cause a check engine light. You might not know that you have a bad oxygen sensor, and the result will be poor mileage and or drivability issues, which means how the car runs, hesitation, stalls, O2 sensors. Very interesting.
Yeah. And that's
I didn't know that fact.
That's an inline sensor, right?
It goes in the exhaust pipe up there by the exhaust manifold, up by the engine. There's actually, most cars have 1, 2. If you have a V8, you have 4 of them.
Wow.
4. But 2 of them really are just for pollution control and monitoring. So you really, from a performance standpoint, 2 of them or 1. If it's a 4-cylinder, you'll just have 1. You'll have 2, but 1 of them is not used for the engine running. So,
all right.
So do we need to take another break?
We do.
Let's take a break, Frank, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about how to make your car run like new.
I love it. All right.
Hey, we're back.
We are indeed.
And this is the Crown Car Care Radio Hour, and this is the final leg of our segment, last quarter of the show. And there's something I've noticed as someone who's been in this business a long time. I've been doing it my whole life since I was about 15, 14 years old. I've loved cars. I've opened my first business in the automobile field, my own business 13 and a half years ago at Crown Car Care out in Palm City. I believe in what I do. I love what I do. It's a family-run business. We're always looking for new people to come and visit us. But one thing I've noticed is I'm going to give you a list of 4 items that I think that if you go drive, let's say you go drive a new car or you rent a car, and it's lower mileage and it's almost like new. We're not going to talk about the new car smell. I'm not going to talk about the interior feeling good. I'm talking about the feel of the car.
Okay.
Why is it that the
Strictly
car feels?
performance.
And how it feels, not. Yes, I get it. I mean,
The foo-foo stuff. Yeah.
the seats might be worn out on your car, the steering wheel, we can put a cover on it. But I'm talking about, what is it? A lot of people are attracted to new cars because they just feel good.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
It's not the visual, and it has nothing to do with smell.
It has to do with the handling characteristics
Characteristics and the way it drives down the road.
Mhm.
The first thing I'm going to tell you is tire balance.
Yeah.
One of the things
Huge.
it's huge.
Huge.
Anytime somebody comes into one of my 2 shops and you come in, I want to tune up, I want this done, I want that done, I want to make my car feel better, I almost always include a tire balance.
Yeah.
Because it changes the game.
Right.
you,
It does.
you have no idea how. I can't tell you, and I wish I could do a before and after with people, and you really would understand what I mean. That new tire. In fact, a lot of people don't even know how to balance tires. I get customers in that they just bought tires from XYZ place and they're not even balanced.
They just stick them on.
They just stick them on or half
Did you
bake
see
it.
where there's online where you can buy tires and then they recommend a facility?
It's slightly sketchy.
Oh, can you imagine how scary is that?
Listen.
That's the most important, next to
That's
the engine.
That's
That
what's
is-
on. That's what's touching the earth.
Yes. I mean, that's protecting you as you're rolling down the road.
Okay, so tire
Yes.
balance is one
Yeah.
of the things I argue, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue. I'm going to say is what gives you that new car feel.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is when I take a car that comes, let's say I take a car in for an oil change.
All right.
And the customer says, well, Todd, can you just give it a drive and see what you think of it? It's a new customer. Let's say
Yeah.
a new customer comes into Crown Car Care and they want an oil change for the first visit.
All right.
Right? They want to introduce themselves and I want to introduce myself. So I take it for a road test,
Mhm.
complimentary road test. Let me just go feel it. I almost always feel brake vibration.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things. New cars don't have it. But your car doesn't. You might not know it because it was gradual over time and you just think it's normal. When you put your foot on the brake, it's not supposed to
Hop.
and jack and bump around when you put the brakes on.
Right.
And that's one of the big things
And
that
that's
makes
your road. It has to do with your
rotors and
Mhm.
drums.
Yeah.
Right. They get warped.
Yeah.
They get warped. Then when you put the brakes on, the pads are going in and out
And
on that rotor that's
that
bent.
has-
And it translates into the car, not just the brake pedal, but the steering wheel and the whole car will shake.
Right.
And you'd be, I bet 70% of cars out there, maybe 65% of all the cars I drive have brake vibration. I kid you not. It's
That's
a
huge.
huge issue.
Yeah.
Talk about that underperformed statistic we were just talking about.
Right.
Brake vibration. Brake vibration. The other thing is wiper blades.
Yeah.
Look, can you just check my car? I hit the squirter. Half the times the squirters are blocked up.
Yeah.
The wipers don't hardly clear. There's just
Oh.
gook all over it, and the rubber's all hard. You got to change your wipers about every 6 months.
Yeah.
And then a lot
Especially-
of times you have to polish the glass. A good wax job on the glass makes all the difference in the
Oh
world.
man.
You know, there is a buildup that can happen on glass on the front windshield that a car wash isn't taken off.
Yeah.
And all you just get some good wax or polishing compound and polish that front windshield, new set of wiper blades. And when you turn the wipers on, they don't shatter, they don't
Right.
bump and hip and scop and everything
I
else.
hate all that.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And the washers, if we clean the jets out and clean the pump screen and the filter, clean it all out, and you put it on and put real washer fluid in there.
Yeah.
That actually works
Yeah.
with some good wiper blades and a polished windshield.
Right. No
Ooh.
rainwater, just
Yeah, real
washer fluid.
washer fluid.
Yes.
And you put your brakes on, they don't vibrate. You're driving down the road at 65, 70 miles an hour and there's no vibration. And my last thing is an alignment and a tight front end.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that's half of the 90% of new car feel is just what I discussed.
Right.
And it is so simple to do. A tire balance is $40, $50, $60,
Mhm.
$70, even good. Let's go 100. And that's even on the way high side. Brake vibration, let's say you have to do front brakes. Maybe it's $150. Put some wiper blades on there, 20, right? 25 maybe.
Mhm.
Tie rod ends and let's say an alignment and some tie rod ends, maybe 200, 220. What are we at? $500 or $600, and you've made your car almost feel like it was 10
Nice.
years ago,
Wow.
5 years ago. That's that underperformed maintenance that we're talking about. Your car still goes down the road,
Mhm.
okay? Somewhat safe, right? Somewhat. I mean, if you have brake vibration, I don't know how safe it is, but it's still drivable.
Yeah.
Right. So the cars are running down the road, but I can make it feel so much different.
Isn't
And
that
how do you
right?
get it done? Go to Crown Car Care.
Yeah.
We'll take care of it. We'll drive it. I'll drive the car for you and I'll give you I'll tell you what I feel. I'm real good at it. My guys are real good at it. Both shops are real good at it. We have a shop in Palm City and we have a shop in Stored off Cove Road, right off Cove Road. Easy to get to. Cove Road East, about a mile in east on
Mhm.
Cove Road.
Right.
And the Palm City location is in Palm City, a little bit west in Palm City, right there near the Turnpike entrance on
Mhm.
714. And I believe it's, what's that road? Can't think of the road. What's the road going right into the Turnpike? It goes through Palm City. I can't even think of it. Not High Meadows, but Palm
Hmm.
City Road. I don't know. Monterey Road, ultimately it turns into when you're going into Palm City over the Palm
Martin
City.
Downs Boulevard.
Martin Downs Boulevard. There it
Yes.
is.
Yes.
Martin Downs Boulevard, 714. We're about a quarter mile from there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come to one of those locations. I'll drive your car. I'll tell you if you need a tire balance. I'll tell you if you need brake vibration work done. I'll tell you if you need wiper blades, maybe a washer pump, some new fluid, clean the jets. I'll tell you about an alignment, maybe some tie rod ends, something like that, a ball joint. And we can make your car feel like what? It's not going to be brand new, but it's sure going to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And you didn't spend, in today's world, a ton of money.
Right.
Right? Nothing's cheap anymore.
No, I know.
Nothing's cheap. But this is good money spent. It's not going to break the bank.
Yeah.
And it'll sure give you a smile on your face from that car that you love.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the car that's paid for or almost paid for.
Yeah.
Because the almost paid for is pretty close to paid for. And that makes you feel good when you have to make that payment anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I say pay me to do a couple little things on your car and it might make all the difference in the world. Now you don't have to go buy a new one.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel a lot better. A lot of people, I'm telling you, these people trade their cars for the most bizarre reasons.
they?
You have no idea.
Well, when we were kids, back in the 60s, they used to trade in their car because the ashtray was full.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They did.
I know.
Do you know that there was a time and a place
Yeah.
when people would trade their car in regularly just to trade it in?
Yeah.
They did.
Just to see what else was new.
Well, it was
Yeah.
it was a
It was a thing
passage.
to do.
I know you grew up in Michigan and I
Yeah.
grew up in Northern Illinois.
Right.
People would trade their car in every 3 or 4 years.
Right. So they had employee programs,
Yes.
and employees were encouraged to buy the car. They had to drive it for a year, then they could sell the car, but they got an employee discount.
Oh, this is up in Michigan if you worked in one of the plants. Oh, okay. So there was a lot of change in hands.
Oh, yeah. But they couldn't just buy it and flip it. They had to drive it for at least a year,
Okay.
But so they would buy it and it would hardly get driven. So you would pick it up with little to no mileage on it.
Right. And it was a decent car,
Yeah.
right? They drove it and they probably took care of it. Because they were in the I find people in the automotive industry take care of their cars a little bit differently than
yes.
differently. I'm not going to say
Yeah.
anything more on that, but it
Right.
generally is true.
Right.
Okay. And
What a deal.
a deal.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore.
No. And that was before destination charges. Right. I mean, because, in Detroit, that people would drive up from Kentucky or parts elsewhere just to pick up their car in Detroit.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of cars. You want to see about buying a car. It's not just a sticker price.
Mm-hmm.
There's fees.
Yeah.
Fees.
Dealer preparation charge. What is that?
I don't know. Is
Yeah.
it guaranteed profit? I don't know what it is. Again, no, I'm not arguing that,
No,
that they're getting rich and famous.
there's
but
something there.
I'm just telling you
Yeah.
that the fees are there, the expenses are there.
Yeah.
Buying a new car,
Yep.
and especially if you finance it.
Oof.
What's the longest you can finance a car now?
I think about 72 months.
That's 5 years, I believe,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. No,
60 months is 5 years.
It's 6 years.
I think you can do 6 years now.
6 years on a car.
Yeah, they do 5. It depends upon, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
6
guessing.
is 72, so
Yeah.
it'll be 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And that's of course, that's the matrix.
I
in
know,
order to
Frank,
keep-
you recently were looking at some trades and stuff. No, seriously.
yeah.
And it was, 72 months they wanted to do you up.
It was nuts.
It's-
Yeah.
I don't care how low the number is or how high it is.
Yeah.
72 months is a long time. That love affair's got to be long.
Yeah. Oof.
It's like people don't get married that
So
long.
my goal is to be alive.
Okay,
that
wait.
long.
What's the average marriage in years?
I think about 7.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you buy a new car, and then by
Yeah.
the time you trade it off,
Yeah,
you've divorced.
You're ready to trade in your
Wife or
significant
husband.
other. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Greg,
Trade,
this is crazy.
trade-ins.
Trade-ins. What are you trading in today? Oh my gosh. Okay, so
What do you give me for my wife?
or
Take
my
my wife,
car?
please.
Both. Okay. So in summary,
Yes.
on how can the average guy,
Mhm.
gal,
Yes.
make their car feel a whole lot different for not a whole lot of money?
Yeah.
Tire balance. Repair that brake vibration.
Yeah.
Put a set of wiper blades and make sure the washers work out of both jets and are spraying onto the windshield with good
Yeah.
washer solvent, the blue. I like to use the green. The green has the bug and the
The bug
bug stuff.
cleaner.
Okay.
Yeah.
and polishing that windshield. And I don't
Mhm.
mean by machine. I'm just do it by
I
hand.
use Rain-X.
Yeah, whatever you use,
Yeah.
clean that thing.
Yeah.
Not just with a brush.
No,
Most
no.
people hardly ever clean their cars anymore. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
and then a good alignment and checking the front end for
Mhm.
tightness.
Mhm.
You look at those 4 things, and if those 4 things are up to snuff on a car and they weren't before,
Mhm.
you come and pick your car up at Crown Car Care. I'm telling you, you're going to think we
Made magic.
did magic. I don't know
Yes.
what else to say, but I'm going to
Yes.
tell you, we can
It-
do it at Crown Car Care.
It is a magical experience
It
because
is.
what you did for my car after
Well.
my 2 front tires and the
Yes,
alignment,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it makes a
What a
difference.
look and
But
feel.
there you go. There's an example
That
right
was
there.
a first,
Big difference.
yes.
Okay, and that was tires.
And that was really a real life example
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
of a new car feel.
And it wasn't just because you came in. It's just we did it.
And I love the feel.
Yeah,
I
and
love it.
Again, though, that's how they make that new car feel. Call Crown Car Care 772-781-8000. Call us up. We'll get you in. We'll get you in fast. Give you a ride if you need it. Whatever. We'll get you taken care of. And thank you again, everybody. Bye bye.
Yes.